Okay, so this is Mohan Vamsi from Vizag itself, and I am working as a software engineer from past 10 years. Okay, I'm mostly into integration part, and this is just a hobby. I just want to explore different technologies like Power BI and Linux, something related to DevOps and all. Okay, today's session is planned for completely beginners who want to understand more about Linux and how the things will work there. So most of the people are well versed with Windows and other operating systems. Windows and Mac mostly used, but Linux people normally don't care much as a regular user. That's why we planned for this session. So let's start. The meeting has been recorded and it will be shared through YouTube or somewhere. Okay, the PPT will be shared and the certification will be provided. I'm sure like certification don't do magic, just like you just attended session. Okay, it don't create like job opportunities for the freshers and all. If any of the freshers here, then I just want to share that info. But it's good to do certification, so that will make sure you worked on something for a while, or else you just start from today and I will be forgotten in next 2 days. Yeah. And coming to questions, right? If you guys have any question during the session, you can drop a message in chat box. So I will be replying to that. And in today's session, we'll be discussing about following topics like basic overview of Linux and how OS will work and these kind of details. And what are the Linux architecture like a core component that will be same for all other operating systems as well. But we'll give some intro about that. And we'll be discussing about some basic Linux commands like how you'll create something in Linux in a live session. And we will be opening a Linux box and we'll be showing that. And coming to file permission, just like, for example, somebody said Infosys, right? We have multiple cubicles in Infosys. Like you don't get access to enter into any of the cubicles. Like in the same way, there will be restriction for each and every user. In the same way, Linux will also have these kind of restrictions. Maybe it will be same for Windows as well. Like maybe in Windows, enterprises will follow Azure AD to provide access, and some people will use a single sign-on to get access to different folders like SharePoint or any other enterprise level things. So these kind of file permissions we'll discuss, and then we'll comes to the Q&A session at the end. Okay. And coming today's session, right? Why do you know there are multiple different types of softwares available, like open source and enterprise level, and then we'll have like hybrid model levels. It's a open source, but enterprise will pay for that. So one of the model will be Linux. IBM, we have, okay, I will, yeah. So Linux is in a completely open source and anybody can download that Linux code base and they can use it in their machines. For example, when you are buying a new laptop, right, it will comes with Windows Home or Windows Pro. Okay, that already charged by the Microsoft. Like for example, in current industry, like Windows Pro itself cost like 10,000 around. It will start from 3K to 10K. So that's an enterprise level software. That's why Windows Pro is a little bit more complicated. And coming to Windows Home, it's available for most of the laptops, but it's also chargeable. Okay. But coming to the open source, right? Previously, like maybe like decade ago, laptops comes with the DOS operating system, and some of the laptops comes with the Linux operating systems. Okay, that's also available, but that's very costly. There are multiple reasons for that. Coming today's session, right, we'll be discussing about Linux, which is free and open source, and I will walk through how you can install in your machine, on our Windows machine, and how you can access Linux machine from Windows using a different software, like we call it as putty, or else you can use a remote ng, these kind of there are multiple tools to access these Linux systems. So it's a Unix based. For example, if you see Android, right, that is also an operating system that is also Unix based, and we have like different set of operate Linux operate like Unix operating system like Linux, Kali Linux, Fedora, CentOS. From if you see, if you use any of the AWS, right, there will be, you will see that CentOS. So these kind of OSs are available, but the base thing will be like Unix only. All are Unix based, but on that we have different flavors. Like we have one slide for different flavors in Linux, like this one. We call it as distributions. For example, Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, Red Hat Linux. This is used by most of the enterprises to run their servers. For example, they don't run servers on Windows. Like there are some application will be running on Windows. Like if you are using any .NET components, right? That will be running on Windows. But coming to Red Hat Linux, right? That is used by most of the enterprise level things. We'll come to the later. Just come back to the previous slide. As I said, right, versatile. Like you can use Linux in your desktops or your laptops, and you can use this Linux. I mean, there are multiple different versions, right? One of the version will support desktops, and one of the version will support your laptop and mobile devices. And also, some people will use this Linux in servers. For example, we say, right, Apache Tomcat servers. You can deploy into this one. Python code you can deploy into these servers. And also, if you have a Node.js, these kind of applications you can deploy into these servers. Okay, that's how we will use Linux for different things. So you have to remember these things like servers, desktop, mobile devices. That's the basic thing. Like when somebody asks, right, you can set this. And why we need to learn Linux? Okay, this is the first question. Like for example, I know Windows very well. Then why I need to learn Linux? The first reason will be like DevOps is very popular nowadays. All these DevOps, right? Those guys will working on Linux itself. Like they do some self scripting there, and they do some cron jobs like automation jobs, and how they connect to their systems, right? Using a putty or something. At least you should know a couple of commands that will be easy for you to understand what is Linux and all. And for example, there is a AWS, you created a server, right? To connect to that servers, you will use some CLI, command line interface. So you will be using some command prompt, something, command prompt, right? Like you'll have some commands, you can give some commands there. So how you will connect, right? Using some these kind of commands. That's why you have to use Linux. So once you use Linux very well, right, you will understand how a command will be executed in Linux, how you can create a simple shell script to do specific task. For example, every day at 9 o'clock, you need to execute one script, and you need to send out an email. Okay, for that, you can create a shell script saying like every 9 o'clock, you can run that shell script using a cron job. So these kind of automations you can do in Linux. It's also possible in Windows. Okay, I'm not saying it's not possible in Windows or Mac, but most of the enterprises uses Linux, right? That's why I'm saying about these cron jobs. You can schedule the cron job so that you can trigger an email or something. That will be a use case where you will use this shell script and the cron jobs. Okay, as we discussed before, right? Server and cloud. Okay, all these cloud, right? AWS, right? There will be EC2 instances you will be creating in AWS or Azure. In Azure, we call it as virtual machines. Okay, all these virtual machines and EC2 instances, right? They will use these Linux. That's why you should understand how you can work with the Linux. And open source and customization. Yeah, you can customize your Linux once you download it from the open source software license agreement, or you can modify the Linux. Like for example, if you want to modify some details based on your enterprise and you want to remove couple of things which are not needed for your enterprise, you can do that as well. So these kind of customization you can do in your Linux machine. And free and secure, see, enterprise level, right? They will use free softwares until certain level. Okay, once they reach a level, right, there will be, for example, we, as we discussed here, right, we have multiple flavors in Linux. There are free softwares available, free Linux distros also available, but enterprises don't use them because on free there is no much security. Okay, those security things, right? That's why, for example, from IBM, we have like Red Hat Linux. Okay. On top of that free open source Linux, right? They will do some modifications to that. Okay. And then enterprises will use. And there will be patching for every month. And there will be security update, just like your mobile, right? For example, recently we got iOS 18 and then we got iOS 18.1. Again, we will get multiple versions day by day. Okay. In the same way, these Linux or Red Hat Linux, Debian, Fedora, or Ubuntu, they will be releasing different fixes every day. That's why enterprises pay for them. Okay. They will pay to IBM to do all those things. For example, Red Hat Linux. So there will be multiple distros are maintained by different companies. For example, we have like AX box, AX servers. That is also one type of server that is supported by, I guess, okay, that is also supported by IBM only, IBM AX servers. Okay. So these kind of things, right? That's why you have to learn Linux in a most possible way. Like for example, you can go to Google and you can learn something, but at the enterprise level, right, you need to understand few things: where you will use, what you will use, how you will use. Okay. You have to question them. Like you cannot use all the free softwares available on internet into your Linux machines. That will create more problems to your enterprise. That's why you have to choose it very wisely. Okay. Until then, you guys have any questions till now? Vamsi, Harika, Shaida. Okay. So we'll move to the next thing, like Linux architecture. So you guys know about architecture? Anyone? What is meant by architecture? Okay, just imagine there is a bridge construction is going on. So before that, there are a lot of people working underground. Like they will create a solid foundation for that, and there will be people who refers to different materials, what materials they have to use, and there will be multiple people who will work on colors and all based on the resemblance and all. There are a lot of things happens, right? These kind of things, everything we call it as an architecture. So in Linux architecture, right, we'll be discussing about these four things. First one is the kernel, the core of the OS. OS is nothing but operating system. And then cell is nothing but command line interface. If you go with our Windows, right, there will be command prompt. That's what we call it as command line interface. When you open any command prompt, right, that nothing but a CLI, command line interface. So it's like you can send some commands or input some commands so that OS will execute it for you. And then we have file system. File system is nothing but we'll have multiple directories. In the hardware side, if you say, right, file system is nothing but how hard disk allocates memory to each and every folder and file in your operating system. For example, in Windows, you will create a new folder, right, by right clicking new folder. So it's an input to the OS. Okay. Later OS, what it will do, it will create a folder and it will allocate memory in a simple manner. Okay. And next we have user interface. User interface, just like for example, I am I'm using this mouse and I am going through different slides. These what we call it as user interface. But you have to remember two things. Some Linux distributions don't have any user interface, and some of them have user interface. For example, here, right? If you see in these distros, we have Ubuntu. Ubuntu is user friendly and popular. Why? Because Ubuntu is like this is an Ubuntu system. This is having a user interface here. Okay. In the same way, if you see Red Hat Linux, right, there will be no user interface. It's only commercial distribution known for its stability. How it will get stability? So every month there will be fix will be applied, and every time there will be security rules will be updated. So there are a lot of things comes in the background and to make it stable. But coming to free Linux, right? There will be nothing. Okay, it's just a source code base that can be used by anyone, that can be modified anyone. That's why companies don't go with free route. Okay, I will explain little more about what is kernel, cell, and what is operating system in a detailed manner. Just so, for example, like what is an operating system? Anyone in simple words, can somebody say what is an operating system? Just one liner is also fine, guys. Okay. So what is an operating system? Okay. Basically, operating system is also software itself. Okay. We want see somebody like, for example, who created Microsoft? Anyone who created Microsoft? Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Vamshi, you're breaking for me.
My voice
Is
is
it for
breaking.
everyone? Yeah. Is it for me or everyone? Okay.
Guys, can you hear me now? Like, is it clear? Fazil, Mokshita, and Shaikh. Can you guys say yes or no? Like, my voice is clear or not? Saida, is it clear now?
Now it is fine, Vamshi.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but in middle it was breaking.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I will give some introduction about operating system. You guys already using, right, Windows, Mac OS, or any other. Some people can use Linux, and you will be using your Windows, sorry, Android and iOS as well. So everything is an operating system. Okay. So basically, it's also in a software. It is not like operating system is maintained by some other names and all, but it is also a software. But what it will do is it will be the tra- intermediate between a computer hardware and the user. Like for example, user sending an input, and the input should be handled by someone. That work is taken care by operating system. For example, when user clicking to open a browser, okay, he just clicked on a browser, okay, the OS manages this request and it allocates the memory, and then it execute that program. Got it? So for example, let me put this way. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen and I've opened some paint and all. Okay. See, we have user, somebody like here we have some user and he is interacting with your system. How he will interact, like he may create a command line argument or else he will click on user interface. Something like he will click on a link in your Windows machine, for example. So whenever he clicked on something, right, there will be a request will be generated. That request will be taken care by operating system. So what operating system will do? So for every execution in your operating system, we need some memory and we need some CPU resources. So it will go to somewhere. It will go to somewhere and it will fetch, I need this much of memory and I need these kind of resources to complete this particular task. Just like, for example, your manager, right? He want to do some task. What he will do? He'll go to the person who is available there. I mean, he will grab him and who is available to take care of some high level these kind of things, scrum master, these kind of things, right? So he will get those resources as well and he form a project and he will complete that in the same way. So each and every request there will be a project created, like I'm just giving an example. There will be a project created and multiple resources will be working on that project. Once everything is complete, right, they will go back to the normal position. Just like, for example, there is a high CP utilization when you're opening a Photoshop app in your system. Once everything is done, you close that particular software, right? What happens? All the resources will go back to the normal position. Just like once we involve multiple people like .NET and Python and we some data analyst, we involved everyone onto one project. The project is completed and we delivered that product and there is no support activities going on. So what will happen? Again, they will back to their own practices. We'll have multiple practices, right? In the same way, the same process will be followed by your operating system. But next question is like, okay, operating system got the request. He's going somewhere to get the resources and all. Who is that guy? Okay, where operating system will go? That's where will comes under kernel. Okay, kernel we said, right? Kernel is the core part of operating system. Okay, kernel will handle the memory management and process management of the device. For example, you want to connect with a printer, right? For example, you want to connect with a printer. So user given input like I want to print this particular Word file. So from there, input will comes to that operating system. Operating will send a request to kernel. Okay, I need these kind of resources. I need to access these kind of ports, and I need to access this much of CP utilization for this activity. So kernel will provide those details and resources to operating system. And then what will happen? Cell. The cell is a user interface for accessing the operating system services. So this is where the actual request will starts. So cell create a request to operating system. Operating system will go to kernel and do the work, and then it will solve the issue. Okay, if you see another example, right? For example, this like user interaction. That's the first thing. So he want to create a new directory in your folder. Okay, he created a new directory. Just right clicking new, make a folder. So everything is done by user interface, right? This is not understand by your operating system. We need some middleman. That's where cell processing will start. So the what shell will do, right? It interprets the message. Okay, it converts that message into operating system format, and then operating system what it will do? It will get that particular message from cell, and it will go to kernel to get the resources, CPU or memory. And then what will happen? For example, if you want to create a new folder or file, right, you need some memory. Okay, to get that memory, right, you will go to some hard drive and it will say like, I need this much of memory. So what it will do, it will create again that file patterns, files will be created there. Okay, what user will see? He just see like that new folder got created. For example, uh, Vamsi is there, right? He created a folder like Vamsi backup. He's creating some files and all. But he just given only one interaction like right click new folder once you backup as the name. But at the back end, there are a lot of things will do. Why you need to understand all these things, right? For example, you're working in a project and there is a system crash happen and you don't know what to do and everything, right? At that time, you need to find out who is taking more memory. No need to kill that message, okay? There will be process IDs in Linux. So you will look into that. Okay, for example, there is a file lock happened to that particular process. These kind of things, right? When those things happen, you need to understand the flow. Normally you don't require who is creating war, who is getting resources, how the everything is working. You don't need to worry about it, but it's better if you know that. Okay. And then will comes to the file system hierarchy in Linux machine.
One small thing.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So simply, the kernel works like server, like I mean, a bridge, like bridge, right?
Yeah, yes.
For these some software or this hardware kind of things, it acts like a bridge, right?
Yeah, we can say that as a bridge. Yes. But the
Okay. And
bridge
the
is,
shell was it was a UI to make this request for the kernel, right? So
yeah,
whichever sends
yes.
the request to the kernel, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Basically you will have user interface, right? So for
you.
example, user interface will be like you are creating a new folder, but at the back end there will be command for that to create that directory that will be
Yeah,
executed by cell. Okay, whenever the cell executed that command, right, then kernel comes into the picture. So okay, I understand it now. Okay, for example, you are saying it in English language, right, to me. Okay, I didn't understand clearly, but what how I will understand? Your mic will transmit the signal and OS will do some more transmission and then I will get through these speakers. Okay. Everybody don't worry about all these things, how it's transformed from audio to electrical signal again back to audio. Okay. So to make this process to work, right, kernel comes into the picture. Okay. Kernel takes
yeah.
that input.
So it converts like a normal language to the machine language.
Yeah. But I just given that example, we call it as interpreter, right? At OS level, if you in studies you will understand what is the interpreter, how voice will understand these kind of things, right? That also comes at that time. How cell interacts with kernel, there will be interpreter also will do the job to convert your English language to machine language. These kind of, there are a lot of things happen, but at high level, right, shell, then kernel, and then your hardware. That's the process.
Okay, got it.
Okay, thank you, thanks for asking that first question. Okay, now we will understand about file system hierarchy in Linux. Normally, you guys well versed about your Windows operating system, right? Everything will be installed on C drive. No, you can install on C, D, E, F, anywhere you can install. But in Linux machine, right, there will be one root directory. Under that, we will have multiple directories: home, bin, etc. etc. Okay. In home, you will have user files. For example, in Windows machine, in under program files, we'll have users. Okay. In the same way, under home, you will have multiple users. For example, we have Vamsi, we have Saida, and we have different people, right? For each and every user, there will be one folder will be created under home. Okay. For example, whenever you are logging into that particular Linux machine, you will be logged into that particular home home folder. And then bin, where you will have most of the system files, like for example, you are installing some softwares, right? At the time everything will be comes under bin. And Linux, you have another option, right? For example, you can install software from etc also, you can install software from home also, you can install it from anywhere, but you have to link to the process. Okay, let me open Putty is nothing but where you can interact with
Vamsi, can you please repeat it? It was breaking for me.
Okay. Give me 1 minute. Okay, let me change. Okay, from mic to I change it to microphone. Is it clear now?
Yeah, one second. Just wait a minute.
So I'm sharing my screen again. I will be opening
Yeah,
Putty.
it was already sharing.
Okay. I need to share my entire screen now, so you'll understand what I'm doing here. Okay, so we call it a software called Putty, where user can enter. This is the IP address. For example, there is a Linux machine. I want I want to connect to this particular machine. Then I need to give that particular IP. This is our server IP. So let me get the password for that. You will have username and password just like your Windows machine. So it will open something like this. So login as I need to give my user ID. Linux is a case sensitive. Okay, IT capital I is different and small I is different. Okay, so you have to provide your username. That's my username, and I need to provide my password here. So okay, I logged in as a itvisor@itvisor.com, and itvisor.com is our server, and this is my user ID. It's like username at the rate server name. That's how it will look. Let me increase font. Okay, is it clear or you want me to increase something?
Also, can you repeat it once? There is an issue with my connection.
Okay, you want me to do it again?
Yeah.
Okay. So in Linux, right, you want to exit from this, you can type exit. For your reference, once you sorry to interrupt, your audio is breaking. Thank you. Okay, I guess it will be clear now. Okay, might some issue. Okay, this is PuTTY configuration. It's a tool you can download from anywhere, and then you have to enter this IP address here. Okay, 162.27.6, and then you need to click on open. It will open just like our command prompt, and check settings now. See, this is the tool, right? You can change your settings. For example, if you are unable to see, you can change something like this. Logging as IT Visor, that is my user ID. I'm giving my password. Password won't be visible. Okay. Authentication failures. Okay. This is why Linux is more secure. Let me promise. Okay, I logged in now. So these are the file systems, right? For example, if you see cd space slash, that means we are going to this particular okay, it will go into this particular folder. CD nothing but current directory. So I'm passing this command cd slash. Now I am in this particular directory. If you want to know where you are, right, you want to know, you can type pwd, present working directory. Okay, see. Now I want to list different files or folders here. Okay, list, we have command called ls. ls is nothing but list. So here, previously we discussed about the permissions, right? All the users don't have permissions to do this job. Okay. To access this bin and ls, right, you should be a root user or you should have some root level access. So what you have to do, right? This little advanced, okay, don't worry about this thing, we can discuss it later. Okay, actually this is my host system, that's why they blocked it. Okay, let me connect to another machine. Do you hear about, guys? It's better everybody unmute and say something so that it will be more clear to me. Is it visible to you? Understand everything? So I am working a virtual box where you can have your Linux machine. You can click starting this Linux machine. It will take little time. Like right, when I start, right, this is under Ubuntu and it's powering up now. You can download VirtualBox from online and you can install Linux machine and you can do practice. So currently I'm using CentOS here. This is the first day, right? Don't worry about so many things. Just you can simply you can understand like you can install some Linux on virtual machine using a VirtualBox software. Take little time, don't worry. But coming back to here, right? Okay, I downloaded this from osboxes.org. I'm logging into my Linux machine. See, this is an Ubuntu. That's why we are having user interface, and also we have a command line terminal as well. Here, this is the same command line what we are accessing here. Both are same. This is my server details here. This is my local machine. Okay, now I'm entering couple of things. ls. See, in ls we have like document, downloads, music, and everything, right? For example, I am accessing downloads folder, cd space downloads. Downloads, we don't have anything. That's why we have empty list. Whenever I type ls, right, we are getting empty list. Now what I will do, right, I will create some folders in downloads. This is my files. I'm going to downloads and creating a new folder. See, I created one with small ls and second one with capital ls. Now I'll go into my directory. Sorry. Here. Now I'm typing the same command ls. Okay, now I got four folders. Whatever I created before, right? All are showing up here. And ls is different and capital ls is different. That's why we call it as case sensitive. Now I'm going to root directory cd slash. Now I want to understand what are here in home, bin, and etc. Now again I am typing ls. See, I am having multiple folders here. Like bin we have, and we have home, and we have opt. The folders. This is tmp folder. We have multiple folders. So I will give some introduction about tmp folder is nothing but temp. For example, there are developer who is working multiple things and they want some space, okay, to do specific task for 1 hour or something. At that time, they will be using this tmp folder. And some people will store logs and all. At that time also, they will use this tmp folder. And coming to home, for example, if I give cd space home, right, I will be entering into home. In home, you will have multiple users. In this particular box, right, in this particular system, we have only one user, that is OS boxes. For example, if you have multiple users, right, all the names will be displayed here. Okay, that comes under home. Another one we have like bin. See, from home itself, I can directly go to bin, cd/bin. Again, ls. See, we have so many things. These are executable files which are stored inside to Linux. It will be different for each and every server. Okay, no need to remember or something, but for example, there is something like systemctl. Remember this and Google it. Okay, you will understand more about systemctl. That will be used to fill the process and do some configuration changes to your Linux machine. You will be using this. Okay, any of them from students here? Faisal, Saik, Harika, Mokshita. If you don't understand, right, please say something. Okay, if I going into different things. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say, right? We'll have multiple things, right? Systemctl, and we'll have sudo to get to your root access. We have sudo. There's so many commands. We'll discuss about that later. So in bin folder, we are having all these things. Now I will go to, if you don't want to drag everything, right? There will be some command like clear. You can type clear command. It will clear everything on your screen. Basically, it will do something this way. Okay. So what is the next one? etc configuration files. So now I'm going to /etc. Okay, we have so many files here as well. For example, there is some command like yum. Okay. For example, what you will do when you want to update something on your Windows machine? Anyone? Okay, there is a need to update some softwares. What you will do? You will go to check for updates, or you will go to your control panel and see like is there any update software is available for that or not. In the same way, we have command called yum in Linux. Okay. The same command alternative, there will be some command called apt. Yum is nothing but, for example, you don't know about yum, what it will do. There is some command called man, and we can give like yum. So this is like help. Okay. Yum redirecting to DNF command reference. For example, for example, we have Python version. Okay. Python version 2.0 now. You want to update that Python version. How you can do? You can use this yum command to update that Python version to latest and greatest one. Just like you want to change the versions of your softwares, right? At that time, you will be using this yum command. Okay. So all these type of commands, right? It will be part of etc. That will change system configuration. Okay. If you want to change any of the software configuration, these kind of things, those things will be under bin. In home, you will be having user files. For example, there is a one user, okay, he want to store some files in their Linux machine. At the time, he will be storing that in home. Okay, that's how it will go. And for example, See, if you see at the end, right, there is something like Q to quit. You can type Q on your keyboard, that will quit from here. Okay, this is not looking good. You want to display something like table format. At the time, what you have to do, right? ls-ltr. But I will go to downloads folder and see from there. Okay, home slash. You can click tab to get the boxes. Okay, what I'm doing, right? After home slash, I'm giving tab. It automatically fill that particular thing. Now where am I? See, now we have these folders and the user ID under OS boxes, and this is nothing but file permissions. Okay, this is like user ID and this is the group, and when that particular file got created, and what is that particular file or folder name. For example, this got created in 6, right? For example, you want something like LT. See what is the difference? LTR and LT. See, it's getting these details as well, time details as well. But here it comes under only year. Okay. Now what I will do, I want to change the timing for this one. Let's see a command called touch command. That's it. And again, I'm giving same command lsit. What is the date now? See. So the time got updated. Okay, there are so many commands will be there. You just need to understand where you have to use. Okay, we already discussed about how we will do navigation around Linux machine and how we will do file operations like, okay, copying, moving, deleting. Okay, we'll look into that later. And reading the files, just the downloads, I will be creating one file now. Okay, under this, I want to create a file name called itvisor.txt. Okay, create that. There are so many things I have to do. Vi space itvisor.txt. So what it will do? It will create a file txt and it will open a command editor. Vi is nothing but an editor in Linux. Okay, I'm giving vi space file name. Okay, now what we can do, right? We can type something. I'm typing something. Okay, I'm typing something, but it is not working first. Why? Because see, if you click I on your machine, right, it will go into insert mode. If you click I on your keyboard, it will go into insert. Where it is changing here. If you see here, right, corner. I'm clicking escape and again I'm clicking on I, it will be changing into insert mode. Then only you can delete the files. Okay, I'm giving like first line, enter, second line, enter, third line. Okay, I given some details in this file. Now I have to save this file. How you can do that? Click escape, then colon, click escape, colon, WQ. Write this file, write these file names to that file and then pick from this particular editor. Okay, you guys understood? So for example, I'm creating one more file. That file name will be like vi. File name is file name only dot txt. That is extension. I'm giving that. And then I given some content in that file. Now I need to save that file. Click escape and then colon WQ. Okay. Now, by any chance, if you want to see what are the different files in this folder, right, you can click give ls. Just give ls here, it will be display the files. ls-lt, it will display all the files with different things. See, for example, here permissions are different and here permissions are different. Read, write, execute. RWX stands for right. Read, write, execute. What is D stands for? Just Google it once, okay? Read, write, execute. That's your task for you, okay? What is meant by D? What is the use of that permission D? Now, for example, by any chance, you want to look into that file. Okay, what is there in the file name.txt? You don't need to open entire file, but you just want to see what are the last 10 lines in the file or last 5 lines in the file. We have some commands like head and tail. Command name will be tail. I want to see 5 files, colon hyphen 5, and the file name.txt. What I'm doing, right? I'm just typing F5 and I'm clicking on tab. Just like your code editor, it will be automatically populated. So what it will do, tail-5 file name.txt. It will display last 5 lines. Okay, for example, instead of file name, I will give ityzer.txt with number as 3. Because there is a one empty line, that's why it's displaying 1, 2, 3 lines. I'm giving instead of tail, I can give head. Head is nothing but from top. See first, second, third line, and coming to here, right? Last blank line and fifth line and fourth line. So we have commands like tail and head. For example, when people will use this particular commands, right? For example, they are working in a support activity, something like they need to check a few of the files. What is the last log occurred? What is the last log error happened in that file? At that time, you guys can use this tail and head. Okay, guys. You guys have any questions? Did you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Ram.
Okay. Okay, Vamsi and Faisal, Mokshita, all are good. Okay. So go back to presentation. See, now we have used it, right? What is the ls and what is cd? Okay, I said it's current directory. Okay, yeah. cd is nothing but a change directory. pwd is nothing but a present working directory. There will be different names. Okay, print working directory, present working directory. We have some other commands to copy the file from one folder to another folder. That is called cp is the command to copy the file, and mv for move. Okay, cp move are different, and rm is to remove the file, and make mkdir is nothing but creating a file. Okay, now okay, can somebody help me how I can create a file? Now I need to create a file here. Okay, okay, instead of creating file, right, let me move file from one folder to another folder. Now I am moving this copying ityzer.txt to Vamsi folder. How I can do, right? cp source and destination. Okay, what is the source here? Source is itvizag.txt only because it is under directly under downloads. Okay. Now, what is the destination is Vamsi slash itvizag dot. Instead of itvizag, I will call it as vizag dot txt. Cannot create a regular file vizag.txt. No such file or directory. Okay. Let me follow that. Vamsi is not a directory. See, we have multiple errors. First error is we shouldn't use like this to give slash, so that will be considered as a root. Whenever you give slash, right, that will go to root. From there, it will search for Vamsi folder. That's why it's not working. For example, here, right, here also in under root, right, we have home, bin, and so many things, but we don't have Vamsi. That's why we got this error. Now I am giving something like this. cp itvizor.txt Vamsi. Okay, now what will happen? It's copied that file into Vamsi folder. Now I'm checking that particular file, cd Vamsi ls. See, that file is present under Vamsi now. Okay, that's how it will go. There is a command called rm to remove a file. Rm space itvizor.txt. So what it will do? It will remove that particular file. See, that file got removed. Previous, when I type ls, right, I got like itvizor.txt, but now it is like it's not there. If you give something like ls lt, right, you will see total as 0. Previously, total will be 1. You guys can work on mv command and mkdir command. Okay, so we followed like cp, mv, rm, mkdir. We have so many commands like this, but these commands will be used by most of the people. For example, there will be a situation where you need to copy file from one server to 100 servers. Okay, and maybe there will be a situation you need to copy file from one location to another location, or you need to delete file, and else you can create multiple folders. During that time, right, you will be using all these commands. Discussed about head and tail to display first few lines and display last few lines. Less is nothing but view file content one page at a time. You can, these are commands, right? Just command and file name. You can give cat itvizor.txt, less itvizor.txt. It's like head hyphen. For example, if you want to see 100 lines, then give like head 100 and the file name. That's the syntax. The syntax will be same. For example, you ever forget how to use this particular thing, right? Then just go to what you call man and type head. Print the first 10 lines of each file to stand out the output. With more than one file, proceed. You get some clear explanation about that particular command. If you use man command. Okay. Any questions? So you guys are following me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Saida. Uh, okay. For example, Saida, you need to create one file here. How you will create? You need to create Saida some file you need to create now.
Mm.
Okay. there will be some command called vi, that is a editor. Okay, you can use vi, you can use the cat command, and you can use touch command as well. So every all these commands, right, will create a file. So in Linux, you will have multiple options. You can follow any one of them. Okay. Others, once if you're able to follow me. Okay, great. Yeah, touch file name will create that particular file. Yes. Okay, we'll meet after 5 minutes, or shall we continue this session? We have like a few more slides, 4 slides we left. Yeah, Harika, tell me. Okay, let me do this way. Okay, let me complete this in next 15 minutes. Then we can go for a Q&A session, or else you can ask different questions if you want. Okay, now I am using a command called chmod. That is like to change permissions of a file. Okay, something like this. I'm clearing everything. Yeah. Okay, now I'm creating a file called changeme.txt. That's the file name. I have some content in the file. I'm repeating the all same step. That's why I'm doing it a little faster. I given a command like QW. That's why it's an error. Again, escape. You can type WQ. So what are the permissions here? Read and write, read and write. You can perform read and write operations on that one, but you cannot execute. To change the permissions, right, you can use this particular command, chmod, this code, right, 755777, based on these details. Like for example, okay, let me do this way, chmod 755 change name.txt. That's the command syntax. This is the command, and this is the permissions, and this is the file name. Okay, that is modified. Now, if we give same command, right, ls-ltr, the file color got changed to green. Why? Because it got some execute access. See, these access also changed. File permissions also got changed. I'm giving one more permission now. chmod hyphen 777 change me.txt. See, we got complete permissions for this. Read, write, execute. Normally for these, right, mostly we'll go with 755 to execute any script or something. Okay. But never give complete permissions to any of the file. That will create a lot of issues. Okay. So chmod command will be used to change file permissions. Okay. Chmod. Remember this, it will be very useful. chmod. Okay. See, there is couple of this one, right? Little bit advanced thing. This one like changing ownership of the file. What you can read about these commands like ch own command, and we have ch group. If you want to change group, for example, we have multiple groups, developer and tester. And if you want to change the permissions of a file from developer to tester, we can change using ch group. all the developers in the organization will get specific permissions. Maybe if you give change group as a tester, right? They will get specific permissions on that particular file. See, this is the syntax for that one. Syntax will be like chown user colon group. For example, we have Harika, right? So example chown Harika colon group DEV. That is the development group and the file name. So Harika from development group will get ownership of that particular file if you change from chown to Harika. And if you want to change a group, right? For example, previous ownership in development group. Now you want to change that group name to something like tester. Then you will use command called chgrp. Okay, do remember that. Where mostly admin will take care of these things, but if you know, right? Uh, for example, there is an incident saying like the file is showing like um, chmod. Okay, you are executing this file from past one hour, but is not executing, and you are unable to access the files. So if you know Linux knowledge, right, then what you will do? You will do something like ls-ltr, and you will see like there are no permissions assigned to this particular file. That's why you are unable to work on that. Or else you will be spending maybe 1 day or 2 days. Sometimes you will be spending 7 days. Entire week you will spend like, why am I unable to execute this particular file? So after that, what you have to do? You have to change permissions. How you can change permission? Chmod, I can give like 755 and the change file name that .txt. Now what happens? Okay, I got some permission that color got changed, so I'm good with that one. Now I can execute that particular file. That's how Linux will help. I mean, learning Linux, you no need to create another operating system. You just need to understand what is happening when there is an issue. Okay, that is the use of learning something. Okay, we can give this hands-on practice. Uh, like use command cd to navigate different file systems, and then you can create a touch using touch command. You can create a file, and you can remove that file using the rm command, and you can I guess that step is missed. You can change permissions in the third step, and then you can remove that particular file. Okay, okay, this is the summary for the day. Like we introduced it to Linux, and then we discussed about this kernel, what is kernel, and what is Linux operating system, and what is the shell and all. And we gone through some basic Linux command, and we gone through file permissions. And tomorrow we'll be executing some scripting in Linux machine, like how you can create a shell script, how you can send a simple email from shell script. Okay, these kind of things will be discussing tomorrow. Everyone, you guys can unmute and we can give like say like everything is good, no issues. Then we can close the session for today. If you guys have any questions, or else if you want to explain any of the use case, then let me know.
Once I have a small query.
Yeah.
So the chmod we are using to change this file permission, right?
Yes.
A file. I didn't get like how to change this color. I didn't.
Okay, it's not like color change. Okay, in Linux,
Okay.
right, there will be some color coding.
Okay.
Okay, like green is nothing but you have access to that particular file.
Acha, okay.
Yeah, you have execute permissions mostly. For example, if you don't let me put this way, chmod, I'm giving like 555 and change name. Or something like this, right? Because it is having execute permissions. Okay, to give only R, right, we need to give like three packets. Okay, write permissions and execute permissions. Okay, one is let me okay. Okay, this is the thing. See, if we have this one, right, you have execute access. If you remember, when we see this sudo command, right, it is in red color because it need a privileged access. Where we have seen that one, cd home, that comes under bin because that is software level. See, M we have separate color. There, there will be some color coding details for each and every operating system. It will be different. See this one, complete red. So you need sudo access. Some red color that here and there we have. You can ping google.com here, but name server is down. Okay. Actually, this is a virtual machine, right? That's why I'm unable to connect. But if I go here, right, ping google.com, operation not permitted. Okay, yeah. So you can check like you have connectivity, or else you can use curl command. Sorry. See what it will done? It pulled all the HTML file. Actually, there are some people, right, scrapping, web scrapping. They will be using these kind of commands to get complete HTML file data, and they will create a complete new website from scratch. Okay. Yes, you guys have to ask some questions, so that will be more interesting. Like so that based on that, I can prepare for tomorrow's session. Sita, Harika, are you able to speak something? You have any questions? Then you can ask me. Should I run this command? Actually, this is my itvisor.com web server. Maybe they changed my permission. That's why I'm unable to execute these commands. Okay, then we'll be closing session for today. If you guys don't have any questions.
You'll be sharing this PPT.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Uh, will you be able to share this PPT?
Yeah, yes, PPT will be
Yeah.
provided. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And you guys, right, whatever the presentation, right, you are seeing, and the presentation will be shared. So no issues with that one. This is our tomorrow's presentation, Linux with user management, adding and removing groups, permissions. Maybe I will for tomorrow, right? I will go with shell script. I will create some shell scripts and I will try to execute them so that you will be understanding what is happening there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay, everyone. Yeah, I'll be closing the session for today.